Properties, our live session. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to have a special guest coming on with me soon. But first, I want to chat about a few things ahead of time. So, if you are new to the channel, if you're new to Mel and I'm talking on different platforms right now. But if you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified. If you're not following us on YouTube yet, definitely make your way over. Every single platform, right? YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. What else is there? LinkedIn, Threads. Everything is always at Investor Mel Dave. Okay. So yeah, if you're not following us on those different platforms, definitely check us out. So today we're going to be chatting with a friend of mine, Zach. Right, we're actually investing. We bought a property through him and his services in Ohio. So I'll bring him on in a couple of minutes here. But yeah, turnkey property. A lot of people have different definitions to this, right? And that's where I want Zach again from Rent to Retirement. I'm going to want him to kind of establish exactly what that means to him, right? Turnkey investments, done for you investments. Yeah, and he's actually in the US. They're investing in multiple different states. So without further ado, I'll bring on Zach and let's rock and roll. We'll have a very nonchalant conversation. Oh, trying to do a software update on me. Don't want to do that yet. And then, yeah, make sure to stay. We'll have some Q&A as well. And let's talk about some turnkey investments in multiple different states in the U.S. There we go. Hey, Zach, how's it going?
Dave, how you doing?
Awesome. Yeah, so just chatting again with just letting them know that Mel and I have just invested with you in Ohio, one of first of many properties that we're going to be doing with you guys at Rent to Retirement. And a lot of people will constantly ask us, okay, what is turnkey? What's done for you? What does it mean? What doesn't it mean? So, yeah, Zach, I'd love to have a chat with you and kind of see, tell us more about your services at Rent to Retirement.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, Dave, and super excited for you guys with the first Ohio one. I know that we have plans to do many more properties as you guys continue to scale and diversify your portfolio. And I think you can probably share the same sentiment as far as like why you as a professional investor who does a lot of things, has a lot of irons in the fire with different real estate projects, of why turnkey would make sense for you guys. And I think that would resonate well with a lot of other people. Basically, turnkey is a great option for you to diversify into other markets that maybe offer better opportunity, better cash flow, have a lower barrier of entry, or whatever the case is, to meet your goals. Allows you to diversify and easily tap into some of the best markets throughout the US with a team that is already handling everything for you. So you can focus on your business, you can focus on your other projects. But turnkey is also a great way for people to just get started investing if they need a little bit of handholding, or if they're a busy professional, their local market is too expensive to get started in. This is an easy way to still have all the financial benefits of real estate ownership in some of the best markets without having to handle everything on your own. And so I always want to start, Dave, just with like what is turnkey? Because this is one of these buzzwords out there that we probably hear about quite a bit, as I know you're well aware. And it's a broad term. And so what we define turnkey as is a property that is either newly built, because we do a lot of new construction, which we can talk about. There's a lot of benefits with those. So it's either newly built or fully renovated, leased, and professionally managed by a team in a market that is poised for success. These are areas that we are very intentional on the locations where we invest. We want to be in areas that have landlord-friendly legislation, low taxes, future population, economic growth, have positive cash flow, have high rental demand, diversity of industries, all these things. So we identify the best markets throughout the U.S., build local teams in there to handle everything for investors, so they can invest in real estate and continue to do whatever they want to focus their time on, their family, their professional careers, their other real estate projects, and continue to scale their portfolio. So that's to turnkey. That's what that means to us.
Okay, and I love that. And yes, it is a buzzword, so I'm glad you really established that. So two things that Zach just said. And as you're tuning in, we're talking about turnkey properties here with Zach from Rent to Retirement, nation's leading turnkey property provider. Mel and I have just invested in Ohio. So Zach said two things right there. Mel and I, full-time real estate investors, this is our full-time gig, right? And why would we decide to go to a turnkey property? Bandwidth is a huge thing. And this summer, Mel's oldest daughter went to college for the first time, right? So this summer was literally us scrambling, getting, graduating high school, still running multiple different businesses, getting her into residence, all of that. And do we have other irons in the fire? Absolutely. But this was a very, very easy, low hanging fruit. We met with Zach's team. We said, you know what? We're in Texas and Florida right now. I want to go into Ohio. We analyzed different markets in Ohio, which one would be good for us. Zach's team took care of us. They found us the right property. It is all renovated. It's already tenanted, all of that. So again, someone who does this for a living can still benefit from having a turnkey service like Zach. And then the other kind of, I guess I kind of touched on it, is this is also for people that, you might want to get into your first deal and you're a little nervous, right? It can be nerve wracking, especially if you're doing it in a different state, a different country, things like that. Or if you're saying, you know what, I keep hearing that real estate investing is the way to financial freedom, success. It's an asset, but I love my full-time gig. And you know what? I don't want to become a full-time investor. This is a perfect type of opportunity where you keep your main thing, and you have people like Zach and Rent to Retirement that helps you achieve that goal, that side hustle. So Zach, I love how you hit the nail on both of those nails. That doesn't make any sense, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, you touched on both those points, which I agree 100% with you.
Yeah, Dave, and I think that a lot of people when they think about turnkey, it's it means different things for them. But the point that I think really we want to hit home is that in wealth in real estate, and this is I know that you would agree with this, and this is certainly something we've learned over the years of investing, because I have a previous career path in healthcare. I was an optometrist by education, same thing as my wife. I was an Air Force captain for 7 years. We invested in real estate throughout that entire time, and we were able to replace our active income by investing in rentals in the best markets throughout the U.S. That's kind of a turning point for us, is like not only focusing on our local market to invest in, but also broadening our horizons and opening our mind to like, hey, let's be more intentional on where we want to invest, where the numbers are better, or that it's more conducive to our goals, and we can diversify. And that wasn't easy. That took, many years to find the right contractors and property managers and lenders and insurance providers, et cetera. But now we've packaged all of that. Like, we've already proved that path for ourselves to reach financial independence through real estate investing. And now we're providing that same service for others. That was the foundation of our company, Rent to Retirement. And so helping other people follow that same kind of path. But I guess my point is that real wealth in real estate is built through holding real estate long term. And we're all limited by the time that we have in the day. And even if you're an active investor, or if you want to be a passive investor, either way, like, your time is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But if you simply own real estate in good markets with good teams and consistently do that over time, then you will build wealth in real estate and ultimately reach your financial goals if you just do it consistently. And so that's the goal of what we provide to people, is helping them consistently invest in the best locations.
Okay, Zach and our action community, you guys know I'm always talking about investor-focused markets, right? Investor-focused states. And Zach just said it himself, investing in good markets. So Zach, can you determine exactly, again, and I know you'll walk them through as to which is going to be the best market for them, but in your definition, right, you've been doing this a long time in multiple different states. What is a good market for investors, and where are you investing?
So we always want to go back to the fundamentals, Dave, of investing for cash flow. We want to have positive cash flow. I mean, that's important to make sure that you're receiving income from the property, that the property is supporting itself. But you want to be in an area where you can have consistent cash flow over time, and also combine that with areas where you are positioned to have strong appreciation over time. You have strong rental demand and growth. And so when we look at a market, we want to base it on the fundamentals of real estate, where we know this isn't going to be just like a short-term market where we can see, strong appreciation for a year or two, and then we have a huge fluctuation, because there are markets like that. And right now, with where we're at in the market cycle, this is a perfect example of looking at areas where there are still markets right now that have double-digit cash-on-cash return and double-digit appreciation numbers, despite high interest rates, despite what's going on economically. And those are areas that we want to be in to make sure we build a sustainable portfolio long term. So some of the metrics we run, we want to have an area that, I kind of mentioned this previously, but landlord-friendly legislation. Okay, we want to make sure that if we need to evict a tenant or pass on charges to a tenant, like, we're not in an area like some places in the U.S., maybe California or other places, where a tenant can just squat in the house for a year and there's nothing we can do. So landlord-friendly legislation, low taxes, a favorable tax structure. We also want to be in areas that have a diversity of industries, not just an
Mm.
area that say solely rely on oil or gas, where that could be a boom bust market. We want to be in areas where we have population economic growth. This is definitely true of a lot of the new construction options that we offer in the Southeast, where the population is constantly shifting. We want to have a diversity of areas, a lot of government jobs. We want to be where the Fortune 500 companies are coming in. We have people that attend city planning meetings on a quarterly basis to know like what is the development going on, so we can be in the path of progress. We also want to be in areas, Dave, where we have a low barrier of entry and a high rental demand and high rental rate relative to home prices. So when we talk about rent to price ratio, our average house price is probably $200,000 to $250,000. And the rents on those would be pretty close, maybe not exactly, but close to the 1%. So $2,000 to $2,500 for rent. So we know that those areas for housing, they're below the median house price point for the U.S., which is 430,000. So there's going to be a large demographic of renters or potentially home buyers, and we can cash flow on that house. So I could go on and on, but we want to be in areas where we know we'll have sustainability and that we have a track record position. So we mainly work in Midwest, a lot of stuff like Ohio, Indiana, Missouri. We work in the Southeast, in areas where we do a lot of new construction for growth. So Texas, Florida, Alabama, Carolinas. These are areas where you'll have stronger appreciation over time. So it all goes back to the fundamentals, and we work with each person to match their goals and criteria with the right market and properties. But if we know if we have strong fundamentals, that is going to be a sustainable market long term.
So Zach just gave us a bunch, which is very knowledgeable information, a bunch of different basically check marks and check boxes as to when you're investing, where to invest, and that. And if you're thinking, again, whether you have the time or don't have the time or want to look at all these variables, like for example, sitting on city council meetings and city planning meetings and seeing where they're taking things, right? Being in the path of progress, analyzing different markets, that takes a lot of time and effort, right? And a lot of you might say, again, it's just not in my wheelhouse, or I'd love to know all of this in multiple different markets, but I don't have the time, or I don't have the experience or the knowledge. And this is the beautiful thing with Zach and Rent Retirement is you don't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel and do all this market analysis. You need to just basically say, hey, here's my budget, here's what I'm looking to do, and here's what I'm looking to achieve. And all of those years and years, and especially the track record, like Zach just said, the track record that is there, the proven process. So that's what I love about Rent Retirement and what you're offering, Zach. And I just don't want, if you're thinking, if you're intimidated at all those factors, again, you don't have to be, because it gets done for you. The other thing that Zach just touched on is the math behind it, right? It's purchasing assets that are in the right, I think you said medium class, but basically for that area, right? The purchase price, the income that they have. So for example, without getting too granular on my deal in Ohio, I believe it was in the 130, 140, 150 mark. I'd have to look at anyway. And there's some properties as well in Florida that are very reasonably priced. And maybe you can chat more about that as well. But these are very affordable properties, right? And I just know some people from out west, like let's say, for example, people from California or even people from Canada and British Columbia, they're like, did you just say $140,000, right? You can't even buy you can't even buy a condo for that or anything like that. So yes, these are very affordable assets. And yeah, Zach, if you want to touch more on that, because I know I've bought in condos in Orlando that were in the 350 mark, where you could buy a house through you in Florida for a lot cheaper, right? So for a better price. So yeah, if you want to elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, it's real estate prices are all relative. I mean, yeah, that $130,000 or whatever for your house could have been a down payment in some parts of the country, and maybe not even cash flowed on that property, So, yeah, I'd be happy to dive a little bit deeper, Dave, and talk about some of the market metrics. I'm sure we have a lot of questions, and as Dave mentioned, for anyone that's tuning in, I mean, please ask questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. If you have like fundamental questions, if you have questions about investing in the U.S., turnkey in general, or real estate, I mean, we'll be happy to talk markets. This is what Dave and I both do full time. We're passionate about real estate. We're passionate about helping other people accomplish their goals. So please, throw any questions out there. And if you are international, we work with many international investors. That could be Canada. My wife's Canadian, or anywhere throughout the world. We have excellent lending opportunities available and an easy process to follow to invest in the U.S. It's not overly complicated. So the markets, let's talk a little bit about the markets in terms of what locations we're offering. We mainly work in two geographic areas, and that's the Midwest and Southeast. And so your Midwest, where you guys are investing, Dave, would be in your Ohio house, which I don't offhand know the exact number, but I think that house is like between 130, 140, and it's renting out for $1,400 a month. It's already rented, right? But like even before you guys close, so that's pretty close to the 1%
1% rule. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that thing's going to be a cash flow beast. But we were in the Midwest. Our typical home prices would be like 150 to 200,000. This is a typical 3 or 4 bedroom, 2 or 3 bath, B class property. And so when we're talking about B class, this is your median household income is typical tenant demographics. We're looking at areas that are about 50% tenant to homeowner occupancy. So you have a good mix of both renters and homeowners, and that's a good area to be in. Generally, people keep up with their houses. They take care of the law. I mean, these are good areas where you have working class tenants. And that just is a really solid cash flow production house long term. Now in the Southeast, where we the other area that we're really focused on is, especially in the build to rent market, is going to be like the as we mentioned, Alabama, Florida, Texas. These are areas where we mainly just do new construction. Now the average house price point is higher. So it means you need more money down, and that maybe doesn't fit with everyone. That's why we offer both locations that meet our fundamentals for investing. But the Southeast is mainly new construction. Average house price point is $300,000 to $350,000. That is going to be a brand new built house that's already completed for you. The cash flow on those, might be a little bit less, or the cash on cash return slightly less year one. But those are areas where we'll probably have stronger long-term growth. And so these are better appreciation areas, both in market values and rents. Like for example, Southwest Florida, where we're very active with new construction. We build a 4-bedroom, 2-bath for right around $320,000. Those will rent out at $2,700 to $2,800 a month. So there's still positive cash flow. And still every single year, we see strong increase in rents and in value and market appreciation between 8 to 15% even this year. So that's a growth area, but it just requires a little bit more capital. And so it really depends on what type of investor you are, what capital position you're in, what makes sense for you. I know a lot of your community likes to look at using other people's money and creative financing options, which is great. We're all about that. The more creative you can be, the more successful you can be. So you do need, typically, for using a loan to buy the house, because we don't care how you buy it. But if you're using a loan, you can use other people's money as a down payment. You can partner with people. We do have some creative options for people where they can put, less than 20% down on properties. We have some seller financing that is becoming more limited now, but we do have seller financing options where rates are as little as 3%. I know, which is a unique thing, and it's an interest-only loan. We can go into that. Now, we just hit capacity for that, so I'll leave this disclaimer out there on the 3% seller financing. This is only on a limited number of houses. We've hit that quota for now. So throughout another month, we'll probably release more of those as more houses get completed, just because it's a high demand thing. My point is, though, is that there's a lot of creative options that we can work with people on.
Yeah, and just so we're all clear, he did say 3%. Okay, like that. Yeah, you did hear correctly. Okay, and if you are interested and you want to be in that next round, right? The team did put that link. There's also deals there as well. Zach has been more than generous in providing us deals as well. So if you do click that link, there are deals available. Or if you're thinking, I want to be in the next round of that 3% financing phase in Alabama, again, don't be shy. Click on it. They graciously provided us that list. Something you had mentioned as well, Zach, that I wanted to touch on. Yeah, the creative financing, you can definitely do it, right? Because we do get that question as well in our Action family is, okay, this is a done for you service. Is it done for you asset, or turnkey asset, excuse me. Can I still use creative financing? Absolutely, right? It's just like any other purchase, right? The financing component, the financing part is very, I guess, regular, similar to any other purchase that you would do with creative financing. It's just the heavy lifting of finding the asset, renovating the asset, analyzing the market, getting the tenants. That heavy lifting is done. That's the turnkey. That's the done for you process. Financing and acquiring the asset is going to be just like any other purchase, which can be done with creative financing. which is again what Mel and I specialize with. So I'm
Yeah,
glad you touched on that.
a lot of your community, because we have quite a bit of people that are have already reached out and starting to invest with us, and of course, we have some promotions and stuff specifically for your community, just because of the relationship that we've built. Which, if anyone is interested, I think the link you guys put in the notes, right, Dave, is investormeldave.com/deals. Make sure you use that link because you get exclusive access to things that are only for your community. But a lot of the your peeps that are signing up for stuff and investing with us, they like investing. We have a lot of people doing new construction. We have some people using the seller financing. Some other people using creative financing options where they're partnering with people. Some people using traditional financing methods. So, I mean, that's really up to you. And I think that's a really good point. Of a lot of the questions we get are like, well, I want to use other people's money and I want to be creative. Like, great, do that. We are the end provider for here's the property. However you want to come in on the front end to acquire it is completely up to you. Partnerships, raising capital. If this is a scenario where you want to refinance and cash out of a property within a period of time, then maybe that makes sense for you to be in a growth market where you have maybe an initial equity position plus stronger appreciation. So then you can pay investors back within a 2 to 3 year period or whatever the case is. Everyone is in a different position, and what we take time to work with each investor to map out an investment strategy and plan based on your goals and criteria and resources, and then just put those plans into action. Find the right market and properties that fit your goals, and then take action on them. And I love that you talk about your action family. I mean, it's this basically at the end of the day, to be successful in any venture, but especially real estate, you have to take action, and it's all about consistently buying properties. But with basically the process, Dave, if someone's interested to learn more, to just learn about markets, our goal with my team is always to deliver value to people, whether you invest with us or not. I guarantee you'll learn something about different markets or creative strategies or investment options. And so the first thing you do is go to that link, and investormeldave.com/deals. You set up a link or set up a call, a consultation with our team. We don't charge investors anything for any of those consultations or anything. Once you go to that link and set up a time, we carve out 30 minutes with our investment strategist to learn about you, your investing background, your experience, your goals. And then it's just like, let's start building a plan, right? Let's look at what options we have, what markets appeal to you, and then craft that plan and put it into action.
Love it. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, and like I said, guys, don't be shy. Click that link. Go check out the inventory. You'll be pleasantly surprised like we were, okay? Naru wrote here, can RTR, Rent to Retirement, support in Canada as well as Northern Ontario?
So where the investor is located makes no difference to us. We work with many international investors. Where our specific properties are located is in the United States. That's where we have teams established. And so in the U.S., I mean, there's some markets. The U.S. is a very diverse place. I mean, it's almost like every state is different, and there's multiple different markets within each state. And so it's really important, if you're looking at investing in the U.S., of what locations do you want to be invested in, and which locations offer the best returns, but are also the most conducive to your goals. And so we want to make sure we're working with you to identify which locations. If you're, I guess if it seems overly complicated or a little daunting to invest in the U.S., if you're located, across the country, internationally, Canada, whatever, don't let that be a limiting factor for you guys, because it's really not overly complicated. Dave, you're a perfect example of this. You can invest in the U.S. very easily.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of benefits from a tax side, both from an investment side, from a financing side, to invest in the United States. There's a lot of opportunity here.
I agree with you. Just before this, literally, we were meeting with our CFO and our financial controller, and we were talking about our U.S. portfolio and our Canadian portfolio. And the U.S. does have a lot of different / sometimes more favorable tax advantages for income producing assets such as real estate. So agree with you there, Zach. I've got a question here from Courtney. How do you differentiate for yourself from other build to rent companies? Good question, Courtney.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, Courtney. Thank you for asking questions. And everyone, please don't be shy. I mean, any questions because if you have a question, I guarantee other people have the exact same question. So please ask it, and we'd be happy to answer it. But Courtney, as far as for rent to retirement, the first thing I would say is that our reputation and track record is hands down the best. And I say that confidently, but also because I've earned that over a decade of building this company. If you just Google myself or rent to retirement, take some time to do your due diligence, as we always encourage you to, and Dave would encourage you to do. Like, go and look at our reputation, and we have an outstanding track record. We have more 5-star reviews for over the past decade than any other build to rent company or turnkey company out there. And because we truly care about people's success. And when issues happen, which they inevitably do in real estate, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We partner with investors long term to make sure those issues are resolved. But to be some other key metric points that, as far as what differentiates us in the build to rent, a lot of build to rent companies are just builders. And they don't offer a turnkey service. So this would be, making sure you have the right lender, insurance agent, making sure the right property manager is managing the property long term and maintaining that relationship long term. Also, we have build to rent opportunities across multiple locations, not just one location. That would be another key point. We offer both short-term rental build to rent properties and long-term. Now, the majority of our properties are long-term rentals. We also build single family and small multifamily. And so there's a diversity of different locations, different asset classes, different investment options. And I guess the last big thing is that we offer different financing options, what you probably won't see in a lot of cases. So we have investment options where you can put as little as 5% down on multiple investment properties. This is not talking about living, house hacking or living in the property. These are true investment properties. Now, that's a unique loan product that maybe not everyone would qualify for. We have the seller financing option, so we have a lot of unique options. And of course, I'm on here with Dave, not just out of coincidence, but intentionally, right? Dave and Mel are both investing with us. They're personally recommending us and working with us. And I'm sure that, Dave, you could agree. You just want to do that with anyone here. So we have your blessing of approval as well.
You're exactly, Zach, and that's the thing, Courtney. That's my student, Zach. I was going to say what's different is they're the only ones we're investing with. And before Mel and I attach our name, right, the investor Mel and Dave, the action family, the action taker community, before we do anything, we do our due diligence, right? And I didn't mention this in the beginning. However, I've been on Zach's email list for a while, right? I've been receiving his content and all that, and I always like what I had. And I kind of thought the same thing as you, Courtney, right? Okay, cool. I'm on an email list. It wasn't until I actually got an introduction through a coach, associate of ours, coach, a lot of different hats there, that introduced us. And I was like, oh, small world. I'm already on your list. I'm already, consuming your content, all that. So we did our due diligence, right? Just like we do with assets. Our values aligned. Mel and I had a lot of conversations with Zach and his team. The main thing is reputation and values. We are so aligned with that. Reputation is everything, doing the right thing above everything else. So yeah, that is the big difference. Is, again, before we purchased through Zach, we wanted to make sure to dot the I's, cross the T's, excuse me. So that's a big difference with them as well. But great question, Courtney. I love it. Oh, question from Daniel.
Daniel, thank you for the question about the 95% loan to value rentals apply in Canada as well. And is this going to be recorded, Dave? I don't know, are people going to have
100%.
access to
It's
okay,
recorded. Yep.
Perfect. So certainly, Daniel, I would recommend going back to watch the recording. I talked a lot about, different markets and locations I think would be valuable. This is something we only invest in the US. And so our locations are, we have 12 different markets across the country that we work in. Those unique financing options would be applicable to only those properties. So, some of those financing options are available to Canadians and international investors. Some are not. Some can be if you set up the right structure, which we can assist you with easily. And so when we talk about a turnkey property and being like operating in the full scope of turnkey, it's not just selling a property that has a tenant and management. There's a lot of due diligence that goes to make sure it's the right market. We want to also set you up for success long term. When we invest in rental real estate, we truly believe, based on our own experience, that you're not just investing in real estate. You're building a business. And real estate investing, it's a lifelong journey. And yeah, there's some obstacles, right? Just like this isn't easy. This is why everyone here is in the top 1% of people that are taking the initiative to be financially literate, and this takes work. Now, turnkey is probably less work than doing it all by yourself, but you're just recognize that you're in the top 1% of people that are taking the initiative to educate themselves and take action towards real estate. But you need to do it the right way. You need to work with the right people. You need to have the right tax and legal structure in place. And when we talk about turnkey, our goal is to make sure that you are approaching it the right way to build a sustainable business. Because I think all of us want to be in this long term. We want to create financial independence. We want to teach our children about how to do the same thing, and we want to leave a legacy of generational wealth. That's what it's about for us. And it really hits home with me. And Dave, I know you feel the exact same way for you and Mel both, 100%. That's why we align so well. But real estate allowed us, like, I didn't hate my career path as an optometrist or an Air Force captain. I love helping people see. I went to 8 years of professional school and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to be a doctor. And we still do that, but now we're able to do that on a volunteer basis. We're able to travel internationally and do that, humanitarian effort. We're able to teach our children about financial independence, and real estate just opened up a whole new world to us that we wouldn't have otherwise had. We didn't have a bad life. I'm not one of these people that hated my job but real estate, if it's done the right way, investing in the right locations with the right teams and building a business around it and doing that consistently, you can really, do magical things and create a legacy. So I can get me off my soapbox, Dave. What else do we want to talk about here?
Well, okay. And I agree with you. Like, career path, it's funny how real estate works, right? Like, I was a full-time firefighter. Mel worked at our local college. We had salary jobs, pensions, benefits, all that stuff, right? And real estate still became the main thing. And I talk to so many people that go, I love real estate. I'm always driving by buildings. I'm looking on the MLS. I'm doing all of this. And Zach mentioned it earlier. The key is action. So the thing you can love real estate. You can look at things. You can, have a passion for it until you jump off that fence or, climb off that fence. Don't jump off fences, climb off that fence and take some action and dive into it. And if you're the type of person that is prone to, and I'll just say it because, again, we get so many messages on social media every day. I'm having, analysis paralysis, whatever. Everyone says it differently. If you know you're prone to that and you know you need to take action, why not make your first deal with someone who's done it, who will literally hold your hand, who will literally get you all the contacts that you need so that it'll shake you out of that analysis, right? That paralysis, and it'll get you taking action so that, just like Zach said, you can give this to your kids and your, whoever it is, your church, your kids, your community, whoever you want to leave a legacy behind to, or your portfolio. The other thing, Zach, I love that you mentioned as well, because I think it was, Daniel asked, where are these properties? These properties are in the U.S. Zach has strategically picked markets and states that make sense. Okay. That being said, whether you're Canadian, whether you're American, whether you're international, I know I have a lot of people from the UK message me, and you're welcome, Daniel. I guess that's probably for Zach. You're welcome. I guess I'll take that on behalf of Zach, but you can do this from anywhere, international investors. And I'll throw this one at you right now. It's from Hamza. I don't know if I pronounce Hamza, sorry. Zach, Hamza's asking, how can I earn money from Pakistan?
If this is asking about real estate investing in the U.S., same process, Dave. We work with a lot of international investors. The big questions, I guess we can maybe expand on that a little bit, because we do get a lot of questions about that, and we obviously won't dive deep into specific, real legal or type of things. But basically, it's not a complicated aspect, right? You just have to essentially, if you're internationally and you want to invest in the U.S., in most cases, it's pretty easy to establish an LLC and a bank account in the US. And if you do that, that's kind of the first step for most people. And that allows you to invest. If you're using financing, I mean, you can also just purchase with cash if you want to. And there's a lot of international investors that, depending on which country they're in and or regulations or how their real estate market works, that they want to just put money into the U.S. economy and the U.S. real estate because of the tax structure, and they know that their money is safe. Like, whatever the case is, everyone is in a different position. It is actually crazy to me that as I learn more working with international investors, which I love doing because I always get educated about other different areas, how in some parts of the world, like you actually can't own real estate, or you can't own land, or there's no such thing as a 30-year fixed loan, like even in Canada, right? Like, you have you always have loans that are on terms, and you have prepayment penalties, and the tax structure may not work the same. So it doesn't matter where you're at, you can invest in rental real estate in the US, but you need to be educated. You need to have the right team in place, and you need to understand what your goals are and how you're going to accomplish them.
Well said, Zach. And I know there's some people that are listening here or watching, and they're probably thinking, oh, I've got a question, but I'm too shy, or oh, maybe they answered this already and I don't want to, be a pest to them or anything. And you're not. By the way, if you have questions, ask, okay? But if you are too shy, or if you do want to, dive deep on your particular scenario and you don't want to ask here on a public forum, I get it, right? Some people are very private. This is where, again, Zach has graciously given us that list of deals that is exclusive to our community. Okay, so go check it out. From there is an no obligation free way of jumping on a call with their team. Guys, if you're going to do anything before you leave today, you've taken time to chat with us, you might as well go check out the list, and you might as well book a call. Worst comes to worst, you're going to learn a few things. You're going to get educated on different, aspects of investing, and hopefully you get off the fence, right, and buy a piece of real estate passively. So if you have questions, again, no obligations. It is free. Book a call with Zach and his team, and they will be able to really dive deeper into your specific scenarios.
Yeah, for those of you who didn't hear earlier, if you may have just joined it, again, our goal is to deliver value. We're passionate about real estate. We love talking about real estate. So even if you're not ready to invest, that's okay. If you're just interested to learn about some of the U.S. markets, that if you have questions about the U.S. economy, the U.S. markets, if you have questions about financing, if you have questions about setting up an LLC, if you need resources, if you already invested, just want some insurance recommendations, we have some of the best insurance providers in the country because we've worked with, just out of self-service. I mean, with our own investment portfolio, we've worked with, hundreds of different insurance providers and found the best one. So if you just need resources, that's okay. Just reach out and we'd be happy to share resources with you. Our goal is to deliver value to every single person that we come in touch with. And we love talking real estate. But yeah, Dave, that first property, I think I'm interested to hear your opinion or experience on this, but I think when a lot of us get started investing, whether we've invested in real estate in the past or not, whether we've had a good experience or not, whether we own our primary residence or not, but investing in real estate, especially from a distance, which is overly daunting sometimes, or it may seem that way, that first property, but especially that first property from a long distance is so important to get done, because it's not even about the financials of it. It's about the mental and emotional aspect of just understanding this is possible, right? That was paramount for us. In our investing. I remember when I was a young captain in the Air Force, just out of optometry school, and we were investing locally. Even the first house I bought was a duplex, and lived in half and rented out half. And then we invested locally, and this was in North Dakota, because where I was stationed at the time, which is not the best investment market, but it was good. We made deals work. But once I learned that I could invest strategically in different markets that offered way better returns, that had better price points, that had better appreciation long term, and that was more conducive to my goals. When we learned that we could invest in different locations and do that strategically, that's really what allowed us to catapult our investing. But that first deal is hard to get under your belt, and I think it's sometimes a mental and emotional barrier that's just about getting it done, and then that sets you on the path to would you agree with that, Dave? Or
Zach, we're so aligned, it's unreal. Your first deal anywhere is always pivotal, but your first deal going out, especially when you're already investing and going outside of your market, your state, your country, whatever it is, depending where you're located initially, that first deal outside of your market is so pivotal in your overall portfolio, just like Zach said. And I would just hate for it to go sour sideways on you, and for it to stain your real estate investment journey, right? And I can attest to this. Our first deal in the U.S., we were looking at doing it 2 deals in Detroit, Michigan, and it was Section 8 properties. We did not end up doing them, right? It was our first out-of-country deal. Anyway, I won't get into the specifics. That could have ruined our out-of-country, our cross-border experience, right? And thank goodness Mel and I are full-time investors. But this is what I'm saying. If you have a first-time and it's a bad experience, it could definitely stunt your growth. It could definitely stop you in your tracks, which is the exact opposite of what Zach and I are talking about. So I couldn't agree with you more that if you are going to be doing your first investment overall, or your first investment in a different state, a different country, for the person from Pakistan, a different continent, you know what I mean? It is so pivotal to get it right. So yeah, I agree 100% with you. Thank goodness that people have an opportunity like this, that they can actually, again, lean on the pros. He's got a decade more of track record. You know what I mean? Especially in this field, the testimonials that Zach has, and this was very important when Mel and I were researching him, the testimonials that he has, the track record that he has, especially in this type of field. It's kind of like being a property manager, right? It's a very tough field, right? Because there's tenants and people are sometimes upset with you, even if you do the right thing and all that. So it's a tough field to continue to have a great and amazing reputation in. And Zach and his team do. It just shows you and it attests to the type of people they are, the type of business they are. And this is why Mel and I exactly line up with them. Glenn here. Actually, yeah, Glenn just joined our Action family. Glenn, welcome to the Action family a couple of weeks ago. Hi, Dave and Zach. I just recently joined the Action family. Do we have the ability or mechanism to use registered funds? Yes. And actually, Glenn, Zach is going to be coming live with us directly with the Action family today as an exclusive. So we'll dive into that in there. I love that question, Glenn. Courtney, to date, what states do you invest in the most? I think that's for you, Zach.
Sure. And congratulations, Glenn, on joining the Action family. I just want to point that out too, if anyone is, thinking about joining the Action family. We've had the pleasure of working with the Action family intricately, and man, what a community you've built, Dave, for you and Mel. I mean, it's just like you get in there and people are they're movers, right? They're movers and shakers. They're doing deals, and that is so important to surround yourself with like-minded people that can support you, that can be potential business partners. I mean, it's huge. If you're not part of a community like this, it's great that people are following you like this and listening and educating themselves. But just taking the step to join the Action family and surround yourself by like-minded people, that is so, so powerful. And I know you and I both do the same thing, right? We're part of multiple different groups and even I just found out you guys were part of the family with Matt Andrews that I wasn't aware of previously. So it's like the big part of those groups is really, really important. But so a shout out to Glenn and the Action family, and guys, think about that if you haven't joined that. But Courtney, thanks for the other question on states do we invest in the most. As a company, we invest in all these states, both personally and as a company. But our most active markets that we're the most aggressive in, I would say Ohio is probably in the Midwest. And these are areas like specifically like where Mel and Dave are investing. We really like the areas around Cleveland and submarkets, but we would not to get too granular today. We would go through this individually with you, but we really see a lot of opportunity, what we call secondary markets right now. These are areas like Akron and Barberton. Like Akron actually keeps popping up as like the number one area in the Midwest for growth. And there's, like $10 million projects coming in Canton where the NFL Hall of Fame is and things like this. So there's a lot of growth happening there. These are areas where I think if you invest in a $150,000 house, that's going to be positive cash flow, maybe close to the 1% rule. You can cash flow now where you can have your cake and eat it too, because it's going to be positioned for long-term growth. So we're heavily invested in those areas in the Midwest. Like Ohio's probably number one in the Midwest. In the Southeast, we're most active in Florida with a close second to Alabama. So areas like Huntsville, where NASA has a strong presence, and Birmingham. These are areas where there's high rental demand. We're doing a lot of new construction. Florida, we have a few different areas where we're building where there's extreme discrepancy between supply and demand. And those are the areas you want to be in because you know that there's going to be strong tenant demographics and renters. These are brand new built houses, which will literally have zero maintenance because you have builder warranties on things. And they will be just positioned for growth. So I would say Midwest, Ohio's our number one market, followed probably by Missouri after that, and that's Kansas City. And then in the Southeast, in the build to rent space, we focus mainly on Florida and Alabama, Southwest Florida, specifically like Cape Coral, Lehigh Acres, Fort Myers. We do some stuff outside of Orlando in Polk County, Poinciana. That's a secondary market. I could go on and on, but those are probably, to answer that shortly, those are the areas that we focus on the most.
Great question, Courtney. Ready to come up. Roger, being in Ontario, Canada, the price of homes and interest rates have skyrocketed. Yes, they have. Seems like we would only break even after renting it out or trying to find qualified renters. Specifically here in Windsor, many can barely afford these high prices. So, and that's exactly, it's not showing for me. Oh, sorry, the question, correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry, I didn't show the full question on the screen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't this be the case for all of Canada? I suppose in the States, it might be a different scenario. So Roger, yeah, you are correct. Obviously, the prices have gone up in those hotter markets that which is the reality all over North America. And like Zach is saying, and like we preach all the time, secondary and tertiary markets has the potentially for higher cash flow and higher returns. So this might be a good thing, Roger, and Zach might be able to talk about exactly why it might be. If you're feeling frustrated with the Canadian market, maybe his opportunities through enter retirement in the U.S. might be exactly up your avenue.
Yeah, I think this would be certainly true, Dave, and regardless of Canada or US, like we have a ton of markets here where, house prices are so high and rents haven't increased incrementally. And then you have the additional added layer of like legislation that is a challenge and areas that have high taxes, where like it puts you at a disadvantage out of the gates as an investor. These are a lot of the coastal markets in the US. So I would kind of take a step back with this question, Roger, and this is a great question, by the way. So thank you for submitting this. But like, I would actually remove Canada or US from it in general. Like, each market is going to be different. There are some markets in Canada where you can find areas that still cash flow. Certainly in the US where we operate, there's markets where there's still positive cash flow. And those are the areas that we want to be in. We're not investing in New York, in Seattle, in a lot of areas in California, like LA, where you have high taxes, unfavorable legislation, but home prices are so high where you can't cash flow unless you're buying the house cash. We want to be in areas where you can cash flow, having leverage in place, and that are still poised for strong growth over time. And that kind of goes to the point again that I was talking about previously of like, to be the most strategic investor. Like, I understand that you live locally to an area and you may feel comfortable or confident in investing in that area because that's what because it's local. But the problem, the reality is, because it's a diverse investment market out there, that there's probably areas out there that have better returns, right? And if you can open your mind to investing in those areas where you can have positive cash flow, because those exist, and where you still have strong appreciation and probably better returns and fit your goals better, then wouldn't you want to find a way on how to tap into those markets? I mean, what I've learned in my investing career path over time is like, you can force equity in houses, you can flip a bunch of houses, you can do wholesales, great finance, you can do all these things, but to really build wealth long-term, and it's good to do all those things, right? If that's what you're interested in, but it really boils down to just investing in good locations with good teams, right? Investing for fundamentals of cash flow in areas that have strong demographics, have strong growth, where you can still cash flow and have appreciation over time. With teams that are going to take care of those and doing that consistently over time. So that was a long answer, but Roger, those markets do exist out there. You just got to know where to find them.
And Zach, no, I love it was a long answer, but it was much needed. And I agree 100% with Zach. And I think it was Ryan or Brian. So excuse me, Roger, there you go. I was off. I was victim of this. I'm in North Bay, Ontario, Canada, cash flowing market, and complacent, always wanted to invest here until I realized that I wanted to invest in different places, right? And it's definitely scary, but we're huge on live where you want to live for whatever reason, that's personal, but invest where returns are best. And not just money, kind of like Zach said earlier, there's a lot of other plays. There's better markets, there's good markets, it might be more landlord friendly, better legislation, better tax codes, all of that. And for those of you that are just joining as well, guys, I wanted to do a recap, and Zach will answer a few more questions as well. But if you are interested in a turnkey investment, right, a done-for-you turnkey where the heavy lifting is done, they've analyzed the markets, they've analyzed the area, they've found the asset, they've renovated it for you, they've tenanted, they put a tenant in for you, and literally it's there for the picking for you to purchase and get financed. Check out this link. Again, Zach was gracious enough to give us some exclusive deals to our community. Check out the link. Again, it's no pressure. Check it out. There's some deals there for you. If ever you're like, you know what, let's rock and roll. I like everything I hear. Again, it's a no obligation. Book a free call with Zach and his team. They'll go over a bunch of different questions, they'll want to know about you. They'll want to know about where you are in your journey, what you need, and how, because everyone's different. We're all going from A to B or A to Z, whatever, but we're all taking different paths to get there because we've all had different paths behind us, right? So they'll be able to go through that with you. And again, completely free. Check them out. Mel and I are purchasing. We've done one so far. We're going to do a lot more. It's just, again, the first of many. So I'll put up a question here from Ian. Question is basically, are there any advantages, investment benefits as a Canadian or US PR permanent resident investor? There seems to be a lot of lower down payment options. So it's kind of just can these attractive options be accessed by Canadian investors in the U.S., Zach? I guess is what the
Yeah, certainly. Whether you're a permanent resident or not, I mean, if you are a permanent resident, there might be some more additional financing options for you. But even if you're not, even if you live in Canada, you have no established business, or in the U.S., you can easily invest in the U.S. The tax structure on these houses, the U.S., and this is regardless of where your residency is at. Having the right legal, tax and legal structure in place is obviously important, and each person is in a different position. We obviously have those professionals to help you with that, but kind of like the big picture of things, because some people dive too deep into, well, what about the tax of being dual taxed and things like this? Like the reality is if you're operating a rental property appropriately, especially if you're using leverage, you should have positive cash flow. We kind of call that tax-free cash flow, because you have so many things that you can actually offset the income with. This is depreciation. This is your mortgage interest if you have a loan. This is just like property management expenses. So the goal is that you really shouldn't have reportable income or that much of it on a rental property that is producing positive cash flow that you actually get to keep and not have to pay taxes on. And there's a deep dive we could do with a lot of this, you guys. This isn't the purpose of today. Certainly, we're happy to discuss your individual situation with you. But like for us, we do accelerated. This is just an example of tax benefits of investing in the U.S. We're professional investors. I'm talking about my wife and I, both with our company, Rent to Retirement, and personally what we do. Our goal every single year is to buy enough real estate and then accelerate the depreciation, which is one thing we can do here, where we offset our active income from all income sources. This is from real estate deals. This is from all different aspects of real estate active business. So our goal, and we've been able to successfully do this every single year based on our situation, is to buy enough real estate every single year, accelerate the depreciation, and offset all of our active income. We're actually reporting a loss that carries over to next year and the next year. So I'm not saying that everyone can do that or that's right for everyone, but the point is that there's potential options like that are important to look into, that I think can really help out a lot of people.
And I just read Brian's here. I just reached out to them. I have my financing call in 5 minutes. Looking forward to working with them.
Congrats. Talk about taking action, Brian. I love
Brian
that.
Doesn't wait. Brian's like, I'm in. Let's do this. I love that, awesome. Brian. Barry says, thank you for all the answers. Okay, that's awesome. So again, to recap here, guys, and I'll just touch base because we're both on different platforms. If you're not following Zach, right, Rent to Retirement across different platforms. Us, it's Investor Mel Dave on YouTube, different platforms as well. And if you are interested, here, let me put the link back up, or I'll get the team to put the link back up. Or if you're thinking, I'm on the fence, again, no obligation. It is free. Zach had mentioned, I forgot to touch on that earlier. Zach mentioned insurance options, right? With our Ohio deal, we had some questions on insurance. Zach had introductions as part of Zach's team, 2 introductions to insurance. We got our insurance needs done that exact same day. Like, this is what I mean. When you're dealing with a provider like Zach, a done-for-you who's been doing it for a while, they have the team there. They literally solved our problem on this insurance thing that we had within an hour or two. We had 2 introductions, bing, bang, boom, done, right? That is the benefit of dealing with someone who does it all the time. So if you're on the fence, guys, or if you're just like, hey, I want to look at some deals, there are some exclusive deals. The link is right there. Go check them out, run them. If you're part of the Action family, put them in the cash flow analysis matrix, right? Definitely take a look at it. There's a lot of different creative financing ways that Zach can offer as well, depending on where they are and what your citizen status is. But Zach, any final words? And with all the questions and all the interaction we've had, Zach, we're going to have to do these more often. I think people have a very big interest, which I don't blame them. Mel and I have a huge interest in these turnkey properties as well. So we're going to have to do these more often.
Yeah, and I love being on here. Thank you again, Dave. It's always a pleasure to talk to your community, because I love what your mission is out there to help everyone accomplish their goals through real estate investing and use creative methods. Obviously, the Action family that you build is just outstanding, and I love working with the Action family because they're action takers, right? I mean, those are the people that are going to be successful. Because I guess the final words, David, I would encourage everyone, just as my advice to anyone looking to invest in real estate, whether you've done it before or not, whether this is your first endeavor into investing long distance or even internationally for that matter, is just figure out a way to make it work and get that first deal under your belt like we've talked about. It may seem daunting, it's not overly complicated. That's the service that we try to provide to people, is pave the path for you to set you up for success and give you all the tools you need to and educate you throughout that process. We want to build long-term partnerships with people where our goal is for you to have a good experience in real estate and come back to invest with us forever, right? Or many years, and refer other people. That's where it's mutually beneficial for us to ensure you're set up for success. But I would just say that it's all about taking action. If you are someone that's been on the fence, or you've been thinking about real estate, or you find something like interest rates are bogging you down, or the economy, or whatever the case is, guys, there's always going to be something. Looking back at COVID too, like everyone kind of shut down and like, oh, well, COVID, we can't do anything. And then we went through this huge appreciation wave and a lot of people missed out, right? There's always going to be something holding you back, but it's important just to get that first deal done. Real estate is just a holding place for money. In my opinion, it's the best holding place for money. But, it's all about getting that first deal done. We're here to help you be set up for success, working alongside Mel and Dave and all the tools and resources they're providing. And, we're here to provide value. So if you have any questions at all, I know we couldn't cover everything today, please schedule time with our team. We'd be happy to answer all the questions you have, provide you with tools and resources, and hopefully help you on your path to success in rental real estate investing.
Boom. I love that, Zach. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Zach. Like I said, we'll have to do this more often. There's definitely a huge interest. Guys, don't be shy. Reach out to Zach and his team. Get access to that exclusive list. Zach, thank you so much for being on today. Appreciate it. I know your time is valuable. I appreciate you coming to spend an hour with us.
Always a pleasure, Dave. Thanks so much.
Okay, bye for now. All right, guys, that was awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Zach and his team, a Rent to Retirement. Again, I can't speak highly enough of them. They're awesome. Okay. And don't be shy. Definitely reach out to them. Like I mentioned, Mel and I have done the one deal in Ohio. We will be doing other deals as well. It's just a no-brainer. We have a lot of, irons in the fire, but this is just such a low bandwidth investment opportunity for us, right? So if you're thinking, like we mentioned numerous times, okay, and Zach I love what Zach just said. There's never going to be a perfect time, right? I talk to so many people, I'll start in January. I'll start when the rates are down. I'll start when X, Y. There's never going to be a perfect time, folks. There's like the year that we bought 12 and 12, Mel's dad had a heart attack, right? It did not stop. Like there's never going to be a perfect time. Okay. The perfect time is 20 years ago, right? That saying yesterday, 20 years ago, right? We all agree on that. The next best perfect time is now. Okay. So if you are going to do this, just do it. Book a call with them. Again, it's trusted pros that we use in our own deals. Zach and his team are awesome. So again, thank you so much for being with us. Make sure if you're on YouTube, make sure to click and subscribe to the channel. We release a video every single week. Same with Instagram and whatever else, TikTok, Facebook, all that stuff. Go follow Zach as well all over social media. But at the end of the day, what I want you guys to do is be successful, take action, buy some real estate. That's why you're all here, right? That's why we all spent an hour together. So appreciate you guys. Thanks again, Zach. And go reach out to him and have an awesome day, guys. Bye for now.